Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hump Day edition of The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. I am your co-host today. My name is Mike Borski, coming to you from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, as we bring you 2A views of conservative news here on the Rundown. And boy, Craig, am I excited today.
Well, there's ample reason to be excited today. You know why? Because it's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
Uh-oh. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
Yes, sir, it is Hump Day. It is the beginning, or at least the attempted beginning of the weekend, where we will spend the rest of this week trying to start the weekend as early as possible.
Like now, like 4 hours ago, about noon for me, 4 or 5 hours ago. But yeah, Greg, this doesn't just start the weekend; it starts our SHOT Show week. Right now starts our SHOT Show week for you and me.
Oh yeah. This is the beginning, folks. I'm gonna just tell you, SHOT Show is the shooting, hunting, outdoor trade show. It is the largest of such gun shows in the entire world. It is specifically for those who are in the firearms industry. Now, for me in California, it's a little bit different than it is for Mike. Because, see, for me in California, I get a chance to look at a bunch of stuff that I am not allowed to have here in the state of California.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff they have there I can't have in Florida either. It's a lot of government stuff. They do demo of machine guns and things, post 86 machine guns that we can't get elsewhere. But it's how they test their stuff. They make them into machine guns and beat them up to make sure that they'll work for the civilian population in the semi-auto mode. But yeah, we're looking at 4 days in a wake up, baby. 4 days in a wake up. It's party day. It's Rundown Room Radio Party Day at the Hofbrau House coming up. Oh, by the way, Next Level Training says they're going to give away some SIRT laser pistols while we're there as well.
Oh, nice, folks. You guys are gonna want these. In fact, I have my SIRT training pistol right here. This thing is phenomenal, and I find it to be a great training tool. It's a great way to get your trigger pulls in without having to go to the range and without having to expend ammo. So check it out. You guys will definitely want to get one of these.
I was told, I believe the method we're going to be using for giving them away at the Hofbrau House Monday night, the 17th, starting at 7 p.m. The party's looking so big, Craig, they asked us to start it an hour earlier.
Wow.
Because they wanted to get everybody in. So starting at 7 p.m., it looks like Next Level Training wants to give them away by perhaps during the end of the evening, having a skills challenge after the consumption of much beverages.
Oh, okay. So in other words, consumption of spirits and not fake firearms.
Correct.
All right. So those of you who are carrying,
alcohol-filled
be careful.
laser challenge. It'll be an alcohol-filled laser challenge.
Nice. So yes, once again, that's going to be at the Hofbrau House in Las Vegas. That's going to be on Monday the 17th, starting at 7 p.m. Join our sponsors as we have a good time and we kick off what is a fun event. And, Mike, before I go, I have to actually brush up on the law because I believe that even looking at some of these firearms that are available there might be a misdemeanor in the state of California.
Oh, yeah, they'll be waiting for you at the California airport going, sir, we're going to need to sniff your hands to see if you touched any legal firearms.
Yeah, sadly, that is probably not too far off from the truth.
Because I could see them doing it. You know how the police will do they'll take the test and they'll swab your hands and they go, look, trace amounts of cocaine, you're going to jail. They're going to do that for you with guns. They're going to be like, sir, you have trace amounts of firearm on your hands. You're going to jail. For possession
You are going
of
to jail.
Firearms.
Exactly. Sometimes it just be like it. Sometimes they just be like it. All right. Well, hey, why don't we go ahead and kick it into gear and start with today's news. We're going to start, well, one of the biggest things, and this is both both firearms related, but it's also news, just conservative news related. And this has to do with Joe Biden. Joe Biden actually coming out and discussing the fact that he supports the idea of getting rid of the filibuster, or let me clarify. At the very least, he supports the idea of amending the filibuster in order to get what it is that he wants to get done. Now, mind you, keep in mind that the ending of the filibuster would basically mean that it would only require 50 votes to end any sort of discussion or debate in the Senate. Which also then means that you would be looking at it basically would be just simply majority rules. It would be mob rules, whatever the folks in the Senate want, the majority in the Senate want, which, by the way, it's not even really the majority in the Senate. In this case, it's the half of the Senate plus the vice president want, they would in fact get. Now, this is something that's been in place. The filibuster's been in place in the Senate for hundreds of years. It's been there for a long time. And the whole point behind it, the hundreds of years, I'd say decades. I feel comfortable saying decades. But it's been there in order to encourage the majority party to work across party lines in order to pass legislation or create legislation that everybody can live with. Maybe people may not get exactly what they want, but at least they'll get something. And we have seen some legislation pass. By the way, when Republicans were in control of the Senate, many Democrats, many of the people who were in fact calling for an end to the filibuster now, they had a much different opinion when it came to the filibuster.
Get your way, you change the rules.
The legislative filibuster should stay there, and I will personally resist efforts to get rid of it.
I'm committed to never voting to change the legislative filibuster.
That would be the end of the Senate.
It raises problems that are more damaging than the problems that exist.
You cannot change the rules in the middle of the game because you do not like the outcome.
You're going to throw the entire Congress into chaos and nothing will get done.
Change the rules in midstream to wash away 200 years of history.
Nothing at all will get done.
I don't think we ought to be coming in willy-nilly and changing the rules.
You can't change the rules in the middle of the game. Ideologues in the Senate want to turn what the founding fathers called the cooling saucer of democracy into the rubber stamp of dictatorship.
If you don't have 60 votes yet, it just means you haven't done enough advocacy and you need to work a lot harder.
Is ultimately an example of the arrogance of power.
Partisan power grab that will stomp on the rights of the minority and leave Congress fundamentally changed for the worse.
Preserve checks and balances so that no one party can do whatever it wants. It'll be a doomsday for democracy.
The one most important rule that requires compromise, requires working across the aisle.
It is a fundamental power grab.
Will not stand by when a party drunk with power tries to overturn 200 years of precedent.
Ending the filibuster is a very dangerous thing to do.
So, Mike, we'll end with that. It's a very dangerous thing to do. That's what the president, then senator, of Delaware, but that is what the president of the United States once said about ending the filibuster.
Yeah, listen, him, Dick Durbin, Chuck Schumer, Bob Menendez, they said it so many times that it put me to sleep. I was like, it's the same droning on and on and on of we can't get rid of it. We must continue to have this. It'll destroy the government. The world's going to explode. But unless Craig, then they want to do it, then it's okay. Everything it's okay now because they want to change rules. They can't have the opposition change the rules, but when they want to change the rules, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I think that's the lesson we've learned here.
Well, because in the end, what they want is they wanted a say, and they wanted to feel like they had a say, and the filibuster gave the minority, and that's what it does. It gives the minority party a say in policy. And they can't say that they haven't been able to pass any policy because we all know that they have passed some policy. Yep. But here's what happens, and this is one of the things that they pointed out. You just don't get to do whatever you want simply because you are in the majority. And that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, exactly right. And like they said, it sits at 50-50 now, but with the vice president being, Kamala, so they said a 51-50 majority. And Again, they want to do what they want. They want to sit around and declare their one-sidedness, declare their obedience to party, and let's face it, folks, it's got nothing to do with you and everything to do with them, their pockets, their bank accounts, and it's the way they roll. They want what's best for them and not what's best for any of us. Either side, either party. Let's speak that they want what's best for them.
Well, and here's the thing. And here's the thing. Ultimately, what it's going to come down to is this: is if they decide that they are going to eliminate the filibuster. Now, keep in mind, they eliminated the filibuster when it came to judicial appointments. They did that during Barack Obama's term, and that's how Barack Obama was able to appoint so many justices or so many judges. Well, guess what? Because they did that, that opened the door to ending the filibuster when it came to appointment of Supreme Court justices. And that's how we wound up with Donald Trump getting appointing 3 members to the United States Supreme Court. So, folks, Democrats, realize this. Be careful what you do when you are the majority, because one day, eventually, you will not be the majority. And when you are not, realize that the rules that you broke, the rules that you changed will eventually come back to bite you. And I think, that's the reason why Republicans didn't work to end the filibuster when they were in the majority, because they recognized that. The one thing we can say about most Republicans, in the Senate at least, is that they've been consistent about the importance of not ending the filibuster.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, just agreed. They get it. They're not short-sighted the way that the Democrat Party is. The Democrat Party thinks that they can just do what they want and face no repercussions from it. And Craig, if they got the filibuster restricted now and later on it was used against them, they would cry that it was the Republicans' fault then too.
Yep. That is exactly what they would do. They would be like, well, I can't believe that they would do that with the filibuster. So that's why they're trying to, by the way, target it specifically to voting stuff, right? They want to say, or they want to not voting. They want to say to constitutionally related issues. Well, guess what else is in the Constitution? Comes right after that First Amendment. It's called the Second Amendment, which means that they would then be able to, in their eyes, they would be able to change the rules when it comes to firearms.
Sure, absolutely. Listen, if I could change it for the first, I could change it for the second, I could change it for the third. I could go all the way to the end. I could do whatever I want because once I've established precedent, there you go.
Exactly. That's exactly how this stuff works, folks. And so you have some folks who are, quite frankly, they are willing to burn down the village to save it.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. No,
Speaking of burning down the village, let's talk about CHOP and let's talk about Seattle. Let's talk about the riots of 2020, which took place. One of the things that has actually come out as a result of that is there's a story being reported about the improper use of investigation. In essence, what they found was that there were reports that were coming from law enforcement or coming out basically citing the Proud Boys and saying that there were armed Proud Boys who were headed to CHOP. Now, I point this out, and this is not, I don't do this necessarily, I don't do this to badmouth law enforcement. I do this to point out how many stories about right-leaning groups, however, whether you agree with the group or not, have in fact been false. And that's exactly what this was right here, was that you had a lot of people coming out of the media, a lot of people coming to the media or going to law enforcement, basically saying, oh yeah, no, these folks, they're going in. These are armed people going into CHOP, and they're gonna, the whole goal of this is to make conservatives look like they are the ones that are trying to instigate violence. And now, while I will admit that Proud Boys are not a group that will shy away from violence, and in some cases have actually instigated it, we can look at this particular case and realize, no, that was not in fact the case.
Craig, I really have no issues with what the law enforcement did there, and I want to explain it to you on a larger scope. There is a difference, and the story kind of covered this a little bit between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is when you lie. All right, you lie for your personal gain, for no greater good. It's just misinformation. You're trying to confuse, and cause chaos. Disinformation is a planned thing, and it's done rather well by intelligence officials. I give you a for instance, because it's a little easier to understand on the military side before you look at it on the civilian side. In a disinformation campaign, you might put it out over the radio frequencies that the Americans and the Taliban are having a confrontation in a certain valley, and the Americans, you need to get us out of here within the next 24 hours, or they're going to overrun us. The force is far, superior. They're going to win the battle if we don't get out of here. Well, what the enemy would hear is, wow, we need to get there also so we can help contribute towards defeating the Americans. Well, guess what's really waiting for them? All right. A surprise ambush. All right. So you've lured them into your trap. You've given them you've launched a disinformation campaign to get them to respond to it the way you want them to direct them a certain place, to make them perform a certain action. All right. So that's kind of how it works on the military side. On the law enforcement side, these guys were outnumbered with minimal officer support and had to abandon a station. So what did they do over the next couple of days? They tried to direct where they wanted these Proud Boys to go, the ones that were already at the station. They were trying to get them to vacate the station house they were in and had seized by making it seem like more Proud Boys were in a different area. They were trying to get them to leave where they were to go join forces with the imaginary Proud Boys somewhere else.
Well, okay, so wait a minute. So the Proud Boys were the ones occupying the building? I don't think that was the case.
The Proud Boys occupied the police station, remember? They occupied
No. I think you're confused. I think Antifa was the ones who were. I don't recall Proud Boys actually occupying anything.
Well, all right. So it was Antifa, but they were trying to get Antifa to move because the Proud Boys were on the way. But
there we go. All right, that I see.
So
now that I see.
They're trying to get them to move, because they wanted them to believe there was a threat.
Right.
Then they tried to get them to move a couple of days later to join up with more of their forces over in the CHOP, So they were using a disinformation campaign purposely leaked so that they could move so that the police could secure the bad guys.
Okay, so
trying to get the bad guys to move to where they wanted them to.
All right, so it wasn't an attempt to make the Proud Boys look bad. It was an attempt to get Antifa to move where they were trying to go. Did they do anything afterwards to provide? I mean, I guess you don't want to say anything because you don't want to reveal your tactics, but in the end, it winds up making the Proud Boys look like a bunch of armed vigilantes. So I can understand and see why they would be angry and upset.
Yeah, but here's what I don't understand. So an angry vigilante mob is now upset that somebody called them an angry vigilante mob.
Well, to say that they went in specifically armed, and I don't know that they went in armed, that they were ever armed, especially when in the general public, they're going out of their way to make you look like a hate group. Keep in mind, these are the same folks who are trying to make the Proud Boys look like a group of racists. Now, like I said, they are definitely a group that does not shy away from violence, especially when attacked. And in some cases, there are some individuals in the group who have instigated such violence. It's not often the case, but it has happened where people in that group have instigated the violence. But mostly, they're responding to attacks by Antifa. I can see where when you're trying to wrest your image back from the mainstream media, where information like that can cause a problem.
Now, the police didn't grab the newspapers and say, or the reporters and say, this is what's going on. Let's be clear how this occurred. The police put this out over police band frequencies because the Antifa had occupied that police station and had taken police radios and had the police communication center there. So the Antifa was monitoring it. So the police is saying these things over these channels to get them to believe it. Now, does the media monitor those channels? Of course they do, because they want to try and get the scoop on the news. Well, guess what? They got caught up in the whole disinformation campaign. Yeah. And they put this out there. This is no different than, Craig, telling your children, listen, if you don't go to bed, Santa Claus is not going to come tonight.
I'm not disagreeing, Mike. I'm not disagreeing with you. You're explaining why they did it. I also understand why members of the Proud Boys would be upset about it, and they have a right to be upset about it. But like I said, I also understand now that you've explained it why they did it, because it makes sense.
Yeah, I think Santa would be upset too. He doesn't want to be seen as the bad guy, right? Yeah.
Right. You were on the list. You were on the good list. I had presents for you, but you get a lump of coal because you wouldn't take your butt to bed.
That's right. Exactly right. Yeah.
Santa is cold like that.
That's right.
Santa can be gangster when he needs to. Just saying.
That's
Just
it.
saying.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Moving right along, American Airlines catches heat behind their discipline of a pilot who had a Let's Go Brandon. He had Let's Go Brandon tag on his bag, and people showed it. It went online. It went viral, and then all of a sudden, American Airlines decided, hey, we got to discipline this guy because we can't have him promoting stuff like that while at work. Well, needless to say, the good people of America have spoken out, and they're giving the folks over there at American Airlines a little bit of grief, aren't they, Mike?
Let's see if we can see it here. That's my. Damn it.
What is that? All I see is emojis, dude.
It's emojis and somebody selecting the Karen emoji.
Oh, the Karen emoji. Oh, wow! I did not know there was a Karen emoji.
There we go.
So here, let me show you guys. This is exactly what it looked like, right?
Yeah.
So that's what the Brandon. So he just basically just had a little Let's Go Brandon tag on his thing. He didn't say it. Now they would, and I like what this person Sandy Cobb said. If the person had a BLM sticker, right, on his stuff, nobody would have had any issues with it. Nobody would have had any issues if he had a BLM thing on there. But he didn't, so people are upset and they're pissed about it. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I lose you? Okay, I think Mikey lost some sound, so we're gonna let Mikey try and find his way back to us. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and continue on with our conversation. But this is what's so stupid about this is like people only want one-way speech, right? They only want the stuff that they care about, the stuff that they believe in to be able to be viable conversation. They don't want the other side. They want, well, but then again, we all know they've already said, Mikey, that they don't care if what was I going to say? They don't care if social media restricts or censors speech. They don't care about saying. They just want to hear what they want to hear, not necessarily what they need to hear.
When the Karen said this, and by the way, her name's there. If you go to this story and find it, you could send her comments. I think she's since kind of locked down her stuff, but she was so offended by it. She was so offended by it that she demanded that American Airlines do something. By the way, and this is what, like you just said, Craig, that everybody came to the defense of this pilot, I guess, is remember last year or a year and a half ago, American Airlines said it's okay for their employees to wear the BLM pins if they want to. Well, and this is what people call out, but people that don't have short-term memories like this Karen did and said, hey, American, if you're going to allow them to wear one side of the political argument, you have to allow them to wear the other side of the political argument. It's that simple. And I think American Airlines, their response was, okay. Thank you, and we'll get back to you. And now she says that they promised they would look into it. Well, I think America looked into it and said, we've already got a shortage of pilots because they're calling in over vaccination issues. It's not weather related, by the way, folks. Do we really want to go after and bring up a political issue again? And that way we got nobody flying. Because guess what American Airlines pilots have? Contracts. And many, many, many ways for them to declare that, oh, you know what? I had too few hours sleep last night, or I'm sorry, my landings are not current, and you have to, under federal law, allow me to take the next 30 days off. And half American Airlines force could do that and drive them to bankruptcy in 15 days. They're not going to do it. If they're smart, they're going to go back and realize we'd say they could do this with the BLM pins, so now we have to allow them to have Let's Go Brandon. You can't say I'm pro one side and con the other in politics without taking repercussions.
Well, exactly. And, you also have on top of it, you have the quarantining because of Omicron, and so many people are catching Omicron. So that, in addition, is creating a challenge with pilots and flight crews. So, yeah, no, I sincerely doubt they're going to fire this guy or lay this guy off simply for having a "Let's Go Brandon" sticker on his bag. I'm like,
what she probably did with her offensiveness, her being offended so much with her post, has probably just made it okay for every other employee of American Airlines to put a "Let's Go Brandon" tag on if they want to.
Right. Exactly. And dude, come on now. Look, you saw it in the context of the bag. You really had to be looking to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you had to be looking for something, anything, in order to be able to see that thing.
Karens are a nosy breed. We know that,
yeah. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. All right, now, Mike, you were the one who sent over this next story, the one about Mr. Brandon Brown. So why don't you go ahead and let our folks know what's going on with that one?
Yeah, and listen, folks, we've been following this for a little while. The 30-second background on this is after Brandon Brown won Talladega, he should have been able to garner incredible sponsorship, or at least the master to the Talladega sponsorship, key sponsors there. He did not, because remember the crowd was chanting F Joe Biden. Kelly Stazek, she said, it sounds like they're saying "Let's Go Brandon," and it stuck. And well, because it's now seen as a political statement, nobody else in NASCAR sponsorships was willing to jump on, which again dumbfounds me in how NASCAR and NASCAR sponsorships are not jumping all over conservatism, considering that's 95% of their base. I don't understand that. Either way, Brandon has been unable to get sponsors. But when he finally got LGB Coin, I believe it is, which is Let's Go Brandon Coin. It's a new kind of a digital currency. First, NASCAR said okay, and then they were like, we may have said okay too soon. So they backed away from their deal. They backed away from the approval of the deal. Well, LGB Coin said this week, hey, you know what? We don't care. If you don't want to put it on his car, we'll sign him as a personal sponsor and put 8 figures in his pocket. So he's got a minimum of $10 million deal here going on with LGB Coin without even putting their logo on his uniform or on his car, just a smack in the face to NASCAR and all these other crap sponsors that are afraid of a little political confrontation. So you know what? Great for Brandon, and this is great for NASCAR. And it's because Brandon's still going to be in the fight here because he's a great driver and a great young man, and he shouldn't be playing. His life and career shouldn't be games played with by the Karens out there in the world.
Right. Now keep in mind, he's never said either the pejorative, what he's never said either "Let's Go Brandon" or promoted "Let's Go Brandon," nor has he said the F Joe Biden. He's like, look, the only political thing he said in this entire thing is, I'm a Republican. By the way, when he was asked, he said that he was a Republican. And when you looked at the stuff that was on the car, it didn't say "Let's Go Brandon" anywhere. All it said was LGBcoin.com. It was the website. It was a link to the website, and that was all it really was. And yet NASCAR, who is, I just, for the life of me, I cannot begin to understand who they think their audience is. I think what it is, they think their audience is corporate America, who's left wing and woke. They don't realize that the people that watch NASCAR, they're not your left wing woke crowd. And you're going to start to lose them the more you keep doing stuff like this.
It's the 100,000 people that show up on race day, bringing Confederate flags and drinking, Busch Light in a can, that want to go to these events. And I'm not trying to, stereotype anyone, but go to a NASCAR rally. Okay, go to a NASCAR game. Right? It's like Craig. It's like saying, white people watch hockey and black people watch basketball. I'm not stereotyping. All I did was look at the stands. Okay, I'm not an idiot. You cater to your fans. All right. And NASCAR is failing to cater to their fans here. It's like you said, they're catering to the sponsors. And
Right.
sooner or later, you're gonna get that trickle down theory, and the sponsors are gonna realize, hey, they stopped buying our products. I wonder why.
I wonder why. Well, and I think it's important for, them to realize that, because the part of the thing is people aren't going to blame the sponsors. They're going to blame NASCAR, and they're going to stop watching NASCAR.
Yes.
Until NASCAR starts pointing out, look, it's the sponsors who are the ones who are causing the problem. Well, they're not going to do that because they don't want to throw the people who are writing them checks under the bus. But eventually they're going to have to realize, the sponsors are going to have to realize that if they're not watching the sport, then they're not going to see your advertising it, and they're not going to buy your products.
Exactly right.
I mean, I'll give you a great example.
They'll associate them. They will associate them. They'll say, well, listen, NASCAR said we can't do this, and blank widgets, supports NASCAR. Well, I'm not buying widgets anymore.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly how, in fact, it is going to wind up working.
Yep.
Okay, moving along. Let's move on to another group. And since we're talking about NASCAR, we might as well get into talking about Walmart. Kind of the same, to a certain degree, the same crowd. To a certain degree, that is, in certain parts of the country. Anyway, having said that, there are a group of Walmart employees who actually wound up getting, they wound up getting fired, right? Or at least the reports are that they were fired for for posting a video that actually went viral of them using their scanners as like they were firearms. Now, let me go down here and I'll let you here. I'll run the video and you guys can actually take a look at it real quick. So this is the video that they posted, and it says they all got fired. And they were basically, the report is that there are 8 employees in this particular video, and they wound up getting fired as a result of posting this video and using the scanners as guns. Now, Mike, I only share this because I just think the sort of things that people get fired over nowadays, the wokeness. And let's be clear, this has nothing to do with TikTok or doing something at Walmart. Literally has everything to do with guns, even though there were no guns involved in the shooting of this video.
Yeah, first off, listen, we'd like your help, folks. If you could get us some proof or evidence that these people were actually fired, because everything we read and everywhere we check, it has no confirmation for fired. And if you try and get a hold of Walmart, that's like calling the phone company. You're not getting anybody on the phone for that. So it's not really sure if they got fired or not, but I don't know why they would, Craig. This looks like some kids. I would say probably all 21 or under. Either college students, high school students is what this looks like to me. This is what you do when you have a high school or a college job. You have a little fun doing it. This is where you go out and make your minimum wage up to $15 an hour now, I guess, depending on where you are. You maybe the guy that was filming this might have got a laser in the eye, but it doesn't look like anybody else was hurt. This looks like a good, wholesome fun at work. And there's a lot of comments out there saying work's not the place to have fun. Well, guess what? If you can't have a little bit of fun at work, then you need to find a new job. Okay. Because otherwise you're going to die at 30 miserable with a heart attack. That's how life goes. So I have no problem with these kids doing this now, as long as on their break, and there's not customers waiting in line.
Right.
We all get that. And it's Walmart, so there probably was. But I don't see any harm here as far as firearms go. All these people and these participants here looks like they knew more about guns than Alec Baldwin did. That's for damn sure. And they're having a good time. It looks like half of them are black youth. The other might be white or Hispanic. So I don't see any issues of race here. We've got a good mix of cultures. I don't know what the people have problem with here. I'm dumbfounded.
I am in complete agreement. I just think it's stupid. I hope they did not get fired.
Right.
Newsweek reported there's no verification that they got fired, and it may have just been something that was posted in the video. I'm hoping they didn't get fired. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting story, to say the least.
Listen, Walmart can't afford to be firing anybody right now, let alone 8 people. You take 8 people out of a Walmart right now, you got to shut them down for a week.
Exactly.
There's not enough employees to go around. This is a great time, by the way, to be an employee. And the boss says, I need you to come in tomorrow. You can be like, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to be there. I think I will be there Friday, and you're going to pay me more and buy me lunch. Oh,
exactly.
Okay. It's not like it used to be. Remember? Where sure I'd like a job. You're like, here's a nickel. Thank you.
Right. Well, hey, we need to move on because we're running short on time here. All right, so moving right along, this is we're now moving on to our parting shot. And now this is a series of parting shots because you'll kind of get the point. You'll kind of get the point. Now, I think it's reasonable, and I think we ought to. The thing about science is we ought to be asking questions, right? I think that's what science is. Science is about knowing what you know now, coming up with questioning what you know now, and then looking for evidence to either support what you know now or to change your mind, right? That's really kind of what science is. So this starts off with this one. I'm not saying, all I'm saying is if I got 3 polio shots in 1 year and I still got polio, I'd start asking questions. Now, Mike, would you or would you not be asking questions? Does that or does that not make sense?
So hold on, I got the polio shot, right? And then you gave me you gave me another polio shot, which was either a booster or the second half of it, right?
Right.
And then you gave me a booster shot to it. So now I got 3, and maybe even fourth if I had to get another booster because it's over a year old now. So I'm at 3 polio shots, and now I got the polio. What was in them shots you gave me? What was really
exactly. You would ask the question. Well, clearly Facebook believes that there's an inappropriate context, or at least there's context that is missing in this particular conversation. Now, Mikey, what context do you think could possibly have been missing?
Let's see. If the context is that I got 3 polio shots and then got the polio, I might ask questions. Let's see. The context might be, did you buy your polio shots on the black market? Were these from a legitimate U.S. source? Are you really an American citizen? I don't know where they were going with this.
How about this? How about the context of why are you fact checking a meme?
Yeah, that's it.
as if it were the news. But nonetheless, they decided to fact check a meme, right? And they basically pointed out that rare polio vaccine breakthrough infections do happen, right? And they then go to a website known as Lead Stories, which, by the way, has fact checking on both the right and the left. You probably want to check them out, leadstories.com. You can look at the right feed or the left feed. Now, the only problem I will say about the right feed is this. They fact check stuff that nobody on the right really believes, for the most part. They don't really fact check any of the real questions, like the effectiveness of hydroxychloroquine. Did Hunter Biden actually own the laptop? Was there evidence linking him and his father to the Chinese to the Chinese business dealings? They don't fact check any of that stuff. But they do some right fact checking. But Mike, I get frustrated because why are they fact checking memes?
That's evidently to Facebook. The meme is the news, right? When this is clearly meant to be satire, when it's clearly meant to be humor. I don't know. I don't know why either, Craig. It's not like it says breaking news. Right. This is the fact. This is clearly. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
All right. Well, there you go. All right, Mikey. Hey, how about a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Woo, baby. Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense, California Republican Assembly. And then, of course, don't forget our slew of sponsors coming up for SHOT Show party at the Hofbrauhaus House, January 17th, starting at 7 p.m. If you're in Vegas, you don't have to be a SHOT Show attendee. Just come to the Hofbrauhaus House, and we've got our good friends, the Guerrilla Machining, Grid Defense. We've got Keltec Firearms. We've got Next Level Training. We got Gun Tech USA. I know I'm forgetting some. Sorry, guys. There's a lot. I should probably write them down, but here I am.
It's going to be a phenomenal event. Please make sure you come out. Also, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the program, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook. If you're watching us on, for example, 2A News, or you're watching us at Arms Room Radio, make sure you go over to the Rundown on Facebook and over to the Rundown on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe and like us there as well. Also, if you're listening, or if you want to just listen to us, you can find us wherever you find podcasts. Just look for The Rundown, 2A News and Conservative Views, and we will pop up. And the daily program, as soon as we're done here, the audio will then be posted on there. So check it out. Once again, listen to us, share, like, encourage your friends to do the same. That'll be it for today's program, and we will be back tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday. So you folks take care and enjoy the remainder of your day.